Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to be talking about today is the debt ceiling and the bill that was negotiated between McCarthy and Biden. And the vote tally was 63-36. All right. And I have some screenshots that I'm going to put up for you because I feel that they're important. And this first screenshot says news 6336 Senate gives final approval of a bill to spend the debt limits until January 2025, ending a tense several weeks in Washington and a bitter partisan standoff that ultimately ended with a McCarthy-Biden deal that faced bipartisan support and opposition on both sides. So here's the first screenshot. Now, it was 46 Democrats that rubber stamped the bill, along with 17 GOP, and 30 Republicans stood with We the People, along with 6 Democrats. Now, here is the full vote breakdown. Okay, I will give you the yays, the nays, and there was one that did not vote at all. Okay, the yays were Baldwin, Democrat, Wisconsin; Bennett, Democrat, Colorado; Blumenthal, Democrat, Connecticut; Booker, Democrat, New Jersey; Boozman, Republican, Arkansas; Brown, the writing is very small, so I have to squint just a little bit. Brown, Democrat, Ohio; Cantwell, Democrat, Washington; Capito, Republican, West Virginia; Cardin, Democrat, Maryland; Carper, Democrat, Delaware; Casey, Democrat, Pennsylvania; Collins, Republican, Maine; Coons, Democrat, Delaware; Cornyn, Republican, Texas; Cortez Masto, Democrat, Nevada; Kramer, Republican, North Dakota; Duckworth, Democrat, Illinois; Durbin, Democrat, Illinois; Ernst, Republican, Iowa; Feinstein, Democrat, California; Gillibrand, Democrat, New York; Gracely, Republican, Iowa; Hassan, Democrat, New Hampshire; Heinrich, New Mexico, Democrat; Hickenlooper, Democrat, Colorado; Hirono, Democrat, Hawaii; Hoeven, Republican, North Dakota; Kane, Democrat, Virginia; Kelly, Democrat, Arizona; King, Independent, Maine; Klobuchar, Democrat, Minnesota; Lujan, Democrat, New Mexico; Manchin, Democrat, West Virginia; McConnell, Republican, Kentucky; Menendez, Democrat, New Jersey; Morin, Republican, Kansas; Mullen, Republican, Oklahoma; Murkowski, Republican, Arkansas; Murphy, Democrat, Connecticut; Murray, Democrat, Washington; Ossoff, Democrat, Georgia; Padilla, Democrat, California; Peters, Democrat, Michigan; Reed, Democrat, Rhode Island; Romney, Republican, Utah; Rosen, Democrat, Nevada; Rounds, Republican, South Dakota; Schatz, Democrat, Hawaii; Schumer, Democrat, New York; Shaheen, Democrat, New Hampshire; Sinema, with an S, Independent, Arizona; Smith, Democrat, Minnesota; Stabenow, Democrat, Michigan; Tester, Democrat, Montana; Thune, Republican, South Dakota; Tillis, Republican, North Carolina; Van Hollen, Democrat, Maryland; Warner, Democrat, Virginia; Warnock, Democrat, Georgia; Welch, Democrat, Vermont; Whitehouse, Democrat, Rhode Island; Wyden, Democrat, Oregon; Young, Republican, Indiana. And then the nays: Barrasso, Republican, Wyoming; Blackburn, Republican, Tennessee; Braun, Republican, Indiana; Britt, Republican, Alabama; Bud, with 2 D's, Republican, North Carolina; Cassidy, Republican, Louisiana; Cotton, Republican, Arkansas; Crapo, Republican, Indiana, Idaho; Cruz, Republican, Texas; Daines, Republican, Montana; Fetterman, Democrat, Pennsylvania; Fisher, Republican, Nebraska; Graham, Republican, South Carolina; Hawley, Republican, Missouri; Hyde, Smith, Republican, Mississippi; Johnson, Republican, Wisconsin; Kennedy, Republican, Louisiana; Langford, Republican, Oklahoma; Lee, Republican, Utah; Loomis, Republican, Wyoming; Markey, Democrat, Mass; Marshall, Republican, Kansas. Merkley, Democrat, Oregon. Paul, Republican, Kentucky. Ricketts, Republican, Nebraska. Risch, Republican, Idaho. Rubio, Republican, Florida. Sanders, Independent, Vermont. Schmidt, Republican, Missouri. Scott, Republican, Florida. Scott, Republican, South Carolina. Sullivan, Republican, Arkansas. Tuberville, Republican, Alabama. Vance, Republican, Ohio. Warren, Democrat, Mass. Wicker, Republican, Mississippi. And then the not voting is Haggerty, Republican, Tennessee. So this bill now goes to Biden's desk and he'll sign it into law. And as TGP's Kristen Taylor previously reported, that Nancy Mace, Republican, South Carolina, laid out the brutal truth on the debt ceiling bill in an epic Twitter thread on Tuesday. And she explained why Republicans got outsmarted by a president who, let's be honest here, he can't even zip up his own pants. But for the complete thread on Twitter, here you go. Just look at this. This deal, okay, and this comes from Mace. This deal normalizes record high spending starting during the pandemic. Okay, we all know this. It's not like this is like some best kept secret. Okay. And it sets these historically high spending levels as the baseline for all future spending. Okay. We're in trouble. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Okay. This bill then grows government even more each year, about 1%. And this deal keeps that record high spending intact and makes it like a baseline for all spending. And this bill, it doesn't actually set like a debt limit. So rather, it suspends the debt limit entirely until January 2nd of 2025. Yikes, I know. And then there's no actual amount capping that debt ceiling. So this is really, really bad. Okay, this is not like something to be actually happy about. Okay, and then they tell us that this bill cuts $41 billion in its first year, about the same amount as the unspent COVID funds. It's pretty convenient if you ask me, but although it's not really a cut. So there's a 1.4 billion cut to the IRS, and it doesn't equal the 80 billion in cuts to the IRS, but nor does it mean that we are gutting the IRS or its 87,000 new hires, but allegedly there will be 10 billion cut off right from the top for 2024 during this process. But it's also not a bill. That money can be cut anywhere that the IRS actually decides to cut. Okay, it's up to them. So work requirements for like SNAP. Okay, let's talk about that. Work requirements for SNAP. It moved from age 50 to 54, and student loan forgiveness repeal never actually happened. So not sure why anyone even bothered here. So Manchin, you know who he is, right? Manchin, he carved out for his pipeline is not even like a part, like germane to this bill. I mean, this is like just run of the mill government picking winners and losers in the market and business as usual in Washington, you know. So this fully funds every spending request by this administration pretty much. And so, you know, watch out for more inflation, possible hyperinflation. So just be aware of that. Higher taxes, higher everything. So arguably the worst part of this Fiscal Responsibility Act is the funding of the IRS agents. So there's, you know, the 87,000 new IRS agents that were hired, and they will still be able to bully working class Americans and conservative groups thanks to the House's surrender. And the so-called Inflation Reduction Act previously gave $79.6 billion to the IRS over the next 10 years. Yeah. And it was previously reported that the House Freedom Caucus chairman, Scott Perry, left open the possibility of filing a motion to vacate and get rid of McCarthy if the speaker pushes through this debt deal. So one member has already signaled his support on this. So under these new House rules, it takes only one member of Congress from either party to bring a motion to vacate, okay, which forces a vote on removing the Speaker of the House. And it would only take a simple majority to remove McCarthy. But let's just hope that like conservatives have the courage to pull the trigger on the motion to vacate and hold McCarthy accountable for this. But, you know, I'm not in politics. I only understand it. You know what I mean? But anyway, all right. I hope that this explains a little bit more, you know, so I guess, you know, we can kind of like, even though this is not the greatest thing, those of us that are on Social Security, disability, food stamps, any kind of government assistance, if you work for the government, that type of thing, if you're military, you know, you can kind of like a little bit because your benefits, things like that, will not be affected, right? So there's that. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. Okay, I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fearless. Ciao.